When is a bloodbath not really a bloodbath?
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
He's talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it. And these idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, presidents, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Now, this is what Donald Trump took to his Truth Social and said. He said the following, quote, "The fake news media and their Democratic partners in the destruction of our nation pretended to be shocked at my use of the word bloodbath, even though they fully understand that I was simply referring to imports allowed by crooked Joe Biden, which are killing the automotive industry," argued Trump. "The United Auto Workers, but not their leadership, fully understand what I mean. With the electric car mandate being pushed by Biden, there soon won't be any cars made in the United States unless I'm elected president, in which case auto manufacturing will thrive like never before. MAGA 2024.
Shortly after the speech, the Trump campaign tried to clean up those comments, insisting in a statement to NBC News the former president was only talking about a bloodbath for the auto industry and auto workers. And before everyone gets triggered and is shocked, because this is a shock opera that we have to unfortunately endure because we're constantly shocked by what he says. But don't let that shock, don't let that trauma let you forget what you're hearing.
Well,
believe him.
Well, and Jonathan Lemire, back to you, because you're reporting on this. It was a distinction without a difference. He was talking about the auto industry. Then he pivots. He goes, "It's going to be a bloodbath." So, okay, maybe if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, maybe you can connect that to the auto industry. Maybe you can. Okay. But again, I've never really heard people discuss macroeconomics in terms of bloodbaths. But maybe so. But let's just say for argument's sake. But then he says, and that's going to be the least of it. That's going to be the least of it. If you think there's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry, even if you take that argument at face value, which, again, given the tone of the rest of the speech, bloodbath, I'm not so sure he's talking about the niceties of international trade there. But let's just take that argument as is. Then he goes on and he says, that's going to be the least of it, and repeats it. It's going to be the least of it.
There's a lot of controversy over this statement from Donald Trump and the alleged misinterpretation by the media. But perhaps the right question to ask is, when should we stop giving a person the benefit of the doubt when they have a track record of using this type of rhetoric that leads and has led to violence?
Clear what he meant. And one of Trump's sort of rhetorical gifts, if you will, is he speaks just vaguely enough and just circuitously enough that people can kind of read into different meanings. He allows himself a little wiggle room and a little out every time. And we saw this in the aftermath of what became a firestorm about his bloodbath comments, because rightly, it was the headline that came out of that rally in Ohio. It was reported all over the place. And immediately you saw, we showed the statement already, the Trump campaign within minutes put something out because they recognized.
They knew he had screwed up.
They knew he had screwed up. And they do have some professionals on their team. And they immediately realized it was a problem and they tried to clarify it with that comment. But what happened then was there was a snowball effect on cable news and particularly on social media. Voices in the right wing, including some very prominent voices on the right wing, really pushed back against this, claiming the media was taking it out of context, that we were biased against Trump, that we were misconstruing what he said, et cetera, et cetera. And as you say, Joe, yes, his comments about bloodbath came shortly after he was talking about the automotive industry. But again, that'll be the least of it. That's the tell.
Donald Trump does not have a pristine record when it comes to using violent rhetoric. And so it makes sense that the United States is on a hair trigger when they hear certain words from a person who has previously said that he could get away with killing someone on Fifth Avenue.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Or that told a group of police officers to rough up their suspects.
I said, please don't be too nice. Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting their head, you know, the way you put their hand over. Like, don't hit their head and they've just killed somebody, don't hit their head. I said, you can take the hand away, okay?
Or who told Access Hollywood that whenever he sees a woman that he likes, he can just grab them by the...
I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Pull the hand.
Or a person who looked at the neo-Nazis who marched in Charlottesville and said that they are fine people on both sides.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
So when exactly are we allowed to no longer give a person who uses this type of rhetoric strategically the benefit of the doubt? What Republicans are asking us to do is to allow Donald Trump the latitude, the ability, the freedom to say anything that he wants, and we are compelled to give him the benefit of the doubt and allow him to say it without any past reference, without any recollection of who Donald Trump really has been all of this time. He even mentioned that he's willing to pay the legal fees for one of his supporters who assaulted a man at his rally. So when you hear this type of person say the word bloodbath and to casually dismiss it as the least of the things that are going to happen if he does not get elected, you know, it's really hard to give someone the benefit of the doubt when they incited an insurrection, when they still don't believe that they lost the last election, when he still promotes the big lie to this day. And that big lie led to violence that claimed the lives of multiple people. It's very difficult to justify giving someone the quality of Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
It would be unwise for people to let Donald Trump say these types of words and not challenge him on every hand, especially when his supporters have spent the last year promoting the idea of a second civil war, promoting the idea of a national divorce. These are the conversations that are happening in MAGA land, but they want us to drop our defenses, drop our common sense. When we hear key phrases from this person, they want us to just sit back and allow that rhetoric to continue to saturate the United States of America when we have seen violence done in the name of Make America Great Again. We have seen violence done in the name of Donald Trump. We have seen violence done in the name of all of these grievances that they are putting in their heads, that Donald Trump feeds them, and they want us to look back and say, oh no, let's give Trump the benefit of the doubt. Well, when a person has already set a track record, it is grossly irresponsible for you as a human being to give them the benefit of the doubt when they are consistent in their violent rhetoric, when their supporters are consistent in the violent interpretation of their rhetoric, and when they have all made it very clear that they have intentions of overthrowing this democracy because they still don't believe he lost the last election. You can believe that all that matters is the economic interpretation of bloodbath, but we're dealing with a man whose hands are already bloody. Finally, we are under no obligation to give the benefit of the doubt to people who are gaslighters, who are professional liars, who misrepresent the truth at every opportunity. We would be foolish and naive. We would be exactly what conservatives need to be able to get where they want to go, which is a full theocratic fascist state. They've made this clear. The conservative agenda 2025 makes it clear that their actions, what they want to do in the United States of America, goes far beyond a metaphor. It goes far beyond an economic metaphor for a bloodbath. They are literally looking to execute an agenda that will irrevocably destroy democracy as we know it, and they want us to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, No, I'll tell you like I tell my church members, you are under no obligation to allow anyone to abuse you. I don't care if they ask you to accept it in the name of Jesus, accept it in the name of a political party, or accept it in the name of love. When a person shows you who they are, Dr. Maya Angelou's told us, believe them. Donald Trump has shown us. His supporters show us regularly. His party has demonstrated regularly that they are willing and able to enact political acts of violence for their agenda. And so when a person like that says bloodbath, I think we should take them seriously. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe to this channel, Really American, as we do our part to push back against this onslaught against democracy.